Difference between operating lease and finance lease. An operating lease and a finance lease are two types of leasing arrangements that companies can use to acquire assets. An operating lease is a short-term lease in which the lessor rents the asset to the lessee for a specific period, usually less than the useful life of the asset. In a finance lease, the lessee agrees to make payments to the lessor over the term of the lease, which is typically the entire useful life of the asset. The key difference between the two types of leases is the extent to which the lessee assumes the risks and benefits of ownership. Under US GAAP, an operating lease is accounted for as a rental agreement, and the leased asset is not recorded on the lessee's balance sheet. Instead, the lessee records the lease payments as operating expenses on its income statement. Under IFRS 16, a lessee is required to recognize a right-of-use asset and a lease liability for all leases with a lease term of more than 12 months, unless the underlying asset is of low value. The key criteria for determining if a lease is an operating lease under IFRS 16 include the lease term, the lessee's right to use the leased asset. Also relevant are the lessee's ability to direct the use of the leased asset, and the lessee's receipt of substantially all of the economic benefits from the use of the leased asset. Under US GAAP, a finance lease is accounted for as if the lessee has purchased the leased asset and obtained financing to pay for it. The key criteria for determining if a lease is a finance lease under US GAAP include the lease term, the present value of the lease payments over the lease term. Also the expected useful life of the leased asset, the lessee's option to purchase the leased asset at a bargain price at the end of the lease term. The expected transfer of ownership of the leased asset to the lessee at the end of the lease term is also a key criteria. If the lease meets these criteria and is classified as a finance lease, the lessee will recognize the leased asset and lease liability on its balance sheet. Thanks for watching.